spring, young men's and women's fancies turn to thoughts of love. And if you're Polish or think Polish, Dyngus Day, the day after Easter Sunday, is a time to show love through singing, dancing, and merrymaking.
I have no idea.
It's a recent holiday. It's Buffalo Centered, and I don't know very much more about it than that.
Yeah, we have somewhat of a disagreement. I mean, I think it's Polish in origin.
I have no idea, other than it's a Polish festival, Polish holiday. You asked me what Festivus Day is, I can answer that.
Okay, so Dyngus Day is a Polish holiday. That's mostly all I know about it, but isn't this also the holiday where women can go around asking men out by hitting them with branches?
I have no idea. Sounds like an eggplant.
Dyngus Day is really an ancient observance relating to the renewal of the growing season. Those are actually its roots. Dyngus Day is a post-Lenten celebration that's celebrated primarily in Poland as an end of the Lenten restrictions, kind of like a Fat Tuesday on the other side of Lent. Instead of a big party before Lent starts, it's a big party the day after Lent ends.
Dyngus Day is Easter Monday. It's the day after Easter. And what happens is a bunch of gentlemen and ladies go out and have a very good time with lots and lots of alcohol, some water, and some pussy willows.
Dyngus Day is different things in different places. It started in Poland and Central Europe with the next day after Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, which is a day off from work, as it is in many countries in Europe, and kind of the beginning of spring and the end of Lent, of kids running around, chasing each other, mostly boys on Monday, chasing girls with buckets of water or whatever other vessels they had to throw at girls, in an expression of affection.
In 1961, when the Chopin Singing Society, which was a private social club on the east side of Buffalo, which was primarily a Polish enclave at that time, actually that part of the city was for very, very long the second largest Polish colony outside of Poland anywhere in the world. Chicago is number one, Buffalo is number two. So it was predominantly populated by Poles and Eastern Europeans in that area at that time. So in 1961, the Chopin Singing Society, which was the name of the club, decided to have a Dyngus Day party. And it took on a life of its own. Number one, they threw a really good party.
Well, our very own merrymaker, Mike Randall, is joining the fun going on right now at the Chopin Singing Society. Mike?
Happy Dyngus Day to you, Ern. Look, folks, it's kind of loud here, but if you're not celebrating Dyngus Day, you're not going to believe what you're missing.
But back in the 60s or 70s, a local organization called the Chopin Singing Society was in Poland, noticed the celebrations going on there, and said, wow, this would be a great fundraiser if we added some music into the mix and some drink. In Poland, you don't have parties like this at all. It's just kids throwing water on each other.
It was back in the 16th century when all this Dyngus Day business started. It was a time when a young man would smack a young maiden with a pussy willow to get her attention. That's about the same way the Three Stooges got their start. There's one small thing to remember. You might want to get a good look at your maiden before you start to dingus.
And it just, it took on such a strong role at the Chopin Singing Society that a lot of taverns and restaurants in close proximity to that location started having their own. So now it started out with one, and then there were a couple of dozen places that all observed Dyngus Day, and it just kind of kept rolling. It really dates back to the pagan rituals prior to this being associated with Christianity and Easter and Lent. It really has its roots in pagan rituals where they would worship the gods of agriculture, if there is such a thing.
Traditionally, in the motherland, Poland, girls would chase boys with pussy willows. They'd say, get out of here, boys. We want to, yeah, you're messing with it. You're looking at us funny. So the boys got fed up with this. This was enough. So the gentleman figured out that a way to get the girls to stop hitting them with the pussy willows is to get big buckets of water and throw the water on the girls. So the pussy willows and the condensed down accurate squirt guns is where it all comes from.
Because nothing says I love you like slapping each other with a pussy willow branch and getting each other wet with water. But
Mark, I noticed there's no little fuzzy things on your pussy willow. What happened to them all?
They got whacked off.
Really? This stick's seen a lot of action then, huh?
Oh, yeah. And the word dingus comes from probably the German word dingen, old German word for ransom. So you could actually ransom, you could pay for your daughter not to be thrown, have water thrown on her with, let's say, a painted egg. So if you lived in villages back then, something like an egg was a very precious thing, and especially if it was decorated. So you could buy your way out of the situation.
There was a German landowner who was the city controller at the time. His name was Joseph Bork. He saw that the Poles were coming through Buffalo and not staying here. They were moving west. So he owned a bunch of land. And he thought that if he donated some land to a church, to a priest, and the priest would build a church and a school, that a community would sprout up around it, because he knew that religion was a central part in the Polish culture. And then he would be able to sell them homes. So he donated the land to St. Stanislaus to a priest by the name of Jan Pitas, and he built a church and a school and a community. And the community grew, and it grew fast. So the initial business district that they had set up for this community was on Peckham Street, which is where St. Stanislaus is, but it was a small area, and it really couldn't accommodate the thousands of Poles that were streaming into the area. So what they needed to do is they needed to set up another area of commerce, and that's where the Broadway market came into play.
My feet were sore, oh romance took them off to rub my toes. I looked up and watched them go, left foot, right foot, nuggy.
Well, being a Buffalonian, being Polish, there's a lot of things that happened in Buffalo throughout the years, a lot of tradition, a lot of heritage. One of the things that me and my family and my friends have done is we've gone to the Broadway market. It's open all year round, but it really gets going, really gets hopping around Easter time, no pun intended.
My mother started working here when she was 18. She worked for Wardinski's, and last year I found an old picture of her, and we brought it to Wardinski's, and this lady right next to us was standing. She says, "Oh, I know your mother," and she goes, "My father used to hold me up on my shoulder, and my mother used to talk Polish, because that's why they hired my mom, because she knew Polish." Oh, okay. So that kind of, it's a memory thing. Yeah. And Dyngus Day, like I said, I've been doing it like 40 years. Wow. Well, I'm a firefighter, and we go in the parade. This will be our 4th year. Lackawanna Polish Firefighters, Local 3166. And we enter our fire truck in there. It's fun. It's a fun time. Dancing, polkas are great. And if you're with someone who knows how to dance, it's just great.
the Dyngus Day Parade has been incorporated, and it started off, you know, a few floats, people getting together, and it quickly grew to a solid half an hour, 45-minute parade where the objective is to celebrate the Polish heritage. It's very silly. It was recognized nationally on Anderson Cooper 360. Thanks.
And here's how you celebrate Dyngus Day.
The quirky little rituals include boys sprinkling girls that they fancy with water, and the girls striking back with a tap from a pussy willow branch.
Someone stole the kishka, someone stole the kishka, someone stole my kishka from the butcher shop. Hey!
Yes, thank you. Good man, you're a good man. And we stole the kishka!
It's our own 21st century tradition that's being passed on to our children now, and I wouldn't replace it. Whether it's snowing or a beautiful day like today, it's a great time.
How you doing? My name's Johnny Walker. As you see, the name of this grill is Big Mama. I got my brother Rob on the grill. That's my father right there. We do all festivals. We do all festivals.
We do all the festivals. Juneteenth will be there.
We the Walkers. Chicken and ribs. We do it all.
I think it's really great. I think it's about time Buffalo gets on the map from anything other than being the armpit of Lake Erie, you know? Because this is a great town. I wouldn't live anywhere else. I wouldn't live anywhere else in the country, and I've been all over. I've been in Europe, I've been out in California, I've been all over the place. There ain't no place better than right here in Buffalo.
Well, one year I decided it'd be an awesome idea to go to the fabric store and buy a few yards of fabric. And I went up in my parents' bedroom and I sewed together an eagle costume. So what I do for the Dyngus Day Parade is I dress up as a white eagle.
Well, to begin the day, I like to consume a lot of alcohol. My beak sometimes gets in the way, but that's usually mission number one. Then after that, I usually find a posse of people and I'll ask them if I can join them in marching around. You know, it takes a while to find some people that will actually let me go with them. But once I do, I tend to run and hug people a lot and make them hit me with pussy willows, obviously, because it's Dyngus Day. Sometimes I'll steal people's squirt guns and squirt other people. And after that, I usually get changed and go out and have a good time. My goal in life is to spread the awesomeness that is Dyngus Day to the world, especially Buffalo, New York.
Dyngus Day is a great Buffalo booster. Buffalo is in its renaissance now. There is a lot of new development going on the waterfront, on the east side. downtown is definitely revitalizing. It's a great time to be a Buffalonian or to look to coming to Buffalo. And Dyngus Day is just another way to draw that attraction.
That's the hope. A lot of people now come to Dyngus Day from out of town. And they leave here having a good time and having a good image of Buffalo. I think what Buffalo does need, though, is investment and money, more than just a good image. You know, hopefully that good image indirectly translates into development.
This year, I think we achieved a level of momentum in Dyngus Day that is now unstoppable. Buffalo is kind of like the New Orleans for Dyngus Day. Like New Orleans is for Mardi Gras, that's what Buffalo is to Dyngus Day. I think that it will continue to evolve in how we celebrate it.
A few years ago, me and my buddy got together and marched in the parade. And it actually rained that day. And I remember my friend saying, "Oh, you know, this is such a bummer. Why is it, you know, it's raining. I don't want to do this anymore." I said, what's wrong? It's just rain. And we went out and marched in the parade, had a great time. I rocked out my eagle costume. And actually my buddy, in my wedding speech, he was my best man. He actually cited that day, despite the rain, dancing in the mud. He said it was one of the best nights of his life. And I can honestly say it was one of the best days of my life, for sure.
So it will continue to grow. How it will grow, you know, tune in. We'll see. It's, you know, some of the things that we did this year we didn't foresee 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So we don't know what road this path will lead us on necessarily, but we do know that that path will be lined with pussy willows, and there undoubtedly will be a water source nearby.
Folks, you don't have to wear a funny hat. You don't have to have a pussy willow. You don't even have to be Polish. All you have to do is come down to the Chopin Singing Society and celebrate Dyngus Day. And if you do, you may find out what Vashwego Alleluia means. I'm not going to tell you. This is Mike Randall with the Channel 7 Live Eye. Back to you, Irv.
Like my people say, live long and polka. Is that good?
That's good.
That's all Jimmy.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
You know that, right?
That's how you win.
You do all your own editing too and stuff.
Learn.
Refrain?
That's how you win.
Means that I love you so. Moja droga, ja cię kocham more than you'll ever know. Kocham ciebie całe serce. Love you.